Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a ragdoll cat. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the body. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video to draw at your own pace. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a cup, a lid, or anything else with a circular edge. On the top left side, draw a smaller circle as a guide for the head. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. First make 4 small marks to indicate the sides of the circle, and then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. The head circle should be about 1/3 the size of the first circle. The edges of the two circles should almost touch. Inside the head circle, draw a curved horizontal line. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later on. On the top half of the head, draw a short vertical line for another construction guide. Under the horizontal construction guide, draw a small circle as a guide for the muzzle. Pay attention to how small this circle is in relation to the head. The bottom edge of this circle should be very close to the bottom edge of the head circle. On top of the head, draw 2 small triangular shapes as guides for the ears. Pay attention to the distance between the ears, don't draw them too close together. The shape of each ear should be similar to an upside down letter V. On the lower left side of the body, draw 2 short vertical lines as a guide for the front leg. Draw the line on the left slightly shorter than the line on the right. Below those lines, draw a short curved line for the top part of the paw. Close off the shape of the paw at the bottom using a short horizontal line. Draw 2 lines to connect the head to the body. Draw the line on the left from the ear to the left side of the body circle. The line on the right should be shorter and less curved. Starting on the right side of the body circle, draw a vertical line that curves downward for the bottom half of the body. Then bend the line to the left so that it connects to the paw to finish the guide for the body. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, on top of the horizontal construction guide, lightly sketch 2 small circles for the eyes. Use the vertical line to help you determine the space between the eyes. Pay attention to the size of the eyes in relation to the head. When you get the size and position of the eyes right, darken the shapes. As you darken the eyes, make the shapes wider and pointier on the sides. Make the inner edges of the shapes longer and pointier for the inner corners of the eyes. The inner corners of the eyes should point down toward the muzzle. The outer corners of the eyes should be high up along the sides of the shapes. Make the top edges of the eyes slightly flatter than the circles. Draw the eyes so that they look like each other, but it's okay if they're not perfectly symmetrical. The bottom edges of the eyes should be rounder than the top. Make the edges of the shapes thick and dark. In the middle of each eye, draw a thin oval-like shape for the pupils. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the pupils when you get the shapes right. Now shade the pupils. You can also draw these shapes as circles if you want the pupils to be dilated. Draw each pupil in the middle of each eye. On the sides of the pupils, draw tiny circles for highlights. Draw a couple of curved lines around each eye to emphasize the shapes. Curve these lines along the shapes of the eyes. Don't draw these lines too far away from the eyes. Extend the bottom tips of these lines downward to make the inner corners of the eyes longer. Inside the muzzle, lightly sketch a small triangle for the nose. Draw the nose close to the top edge of the muzzle. The nose should be very small in relation to the circle for the muzzle. When you get the size and position of the nose right, darken the shape. Use a wavy line as you darken the top edge of the nose. On each side of the nose, draw a line that curves inward for the nostrils. The nostrils should be very small. Add a short vertical line on the bottom part of the nose. Make the bottom tip of the nose thin and pointy. Add a few short strokes above the shape for the bridge of the nose. Under the nose, draw a line that splits into two and then curves to the sides for the mouth. Make the middle part of the mouth thick and dark. Use short strokes as you darken the sides of the mouth for the fur. Curve the outer tips of the mouth upward to create the sides of the muzzle. The sides of the muzzle should be outside of the small initial circle. Don't draw the sides of the muzzle higher than the nose. Use light strokes for the sides of the muzzle and a dark line for the mouth. The sides of the muzzle should line up with the outer edges of the eyes. Under the mouth, draw a curved line for the chin. Don't draw the chin too far down below the mouth. Follow the bottom edge of the initial circle as you draw the chin. Draw the chin using short strokes for a furry texture. The overall shape of the muzzle should be wide. Now use the triangular shape on the top left side of the head as a guide to draw the first ear. Darken the shape of the guide but make the sides a bit wavier. At the top, draw a few short strokes for fur. Draw a few short lines on the left side to give the ear more structure. Add a few longer strokes within the shape for fur. Now use the triangular shape on the right side as a guide to draw the other ear the same way. Darken the shape of the guide but make the sides a bit wavier. Add short strokes at the top of the ear and within the shape for fur. On the left side, draw a couple of curved lines to give the ear structure. Now use the circle as a guide to draw the rest of the head. Darken the top part of the circle using short strokes but make the shape flatter. Use the initial line on the leftmost side as a guide to draw the side of the head. Use short strokes to draw the shape of the head for a furry texture. Curve the bottom part of the head so that it almost touches the side of the muzzle. Use the initial line on the right as a guide to draw the other side of the head the same way. Curve the bottom part of the line inward so that the head is shorter. Add a few short strokes above the eyes for extra detail on the fur. Add a few short strokes on the sides of the muzzle too. Use the shapes on the lower left side of the body as guides to draw the first front leg. Darken the outer edges of the guides using short strokes to create the furry shape of the leg. At the top, add more short strokes along the edge of the big circle for the top part of the leg. Darken the curved shape at the bottom to create the paw. Inside the shape, draw a couple of short vertical lines to create the toes. Add a few more short strokes within the shape of the paw for fur. On the left side, draw a similar shape for the other front leg. Use the first leg as a template to draw this leg. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the leg when you get the shapes right. Add a short vertical line at the bottom to split the toes. Most of this leg will be hidden behind the first leg, so only draw the front part. On the bottom part of the body, lightly sketch a big oval-like shape for the tail. The shape of the tail should overlap most of the bottom edge of the body. Make the left side of the shape wide and the right side thin. The left edge of the tail should be very close to the front leg. When you get the shape of the tail right, darken the lines. Use short strokes as you darken the shape of the tail for a furry texture. The longer you make the strokes, the shaggier the tail will be. Draw a small curved shape between the tail and the front leg for the visible part of the hind foot. Add a couple of short curved lines within the shape for the toes. It's okay to skip this step if you don't have enough room between the tip of the tail and the front leg. Higher up, draw a series of short strokes for the top part of the folded hind leg. Now use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the body. Use short strokes as you darken the guides for a furry texture. You can use longer strokes to create longer fur. Use flatter strokes along the back of the body. Use a few more short strokes within the body to emphasize the fur. Draw short strokes on the chest and below the head. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video won't be too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. Ragdoll cats have a variety of fur patterns. For this fur pattern, add a dark value on the face except for the muzzle and between the eyes. Add a few sections of dark value on the forehead to create short stripes. As you shade, use strokes that go in the direction of the fur. On the head, the fur radiates outward from the nose. On the body, the fur has a vertical orientation. Use a light value to shade the body. As you shade, separate each stroke a bit so that the white of the paper comes through and creates a more furry texture. Use a darker value throughout the body to create some shadows. Shading can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. It's a good idea to use reference as you shade for a more accurate depiction of a ragdoll cat. If you have a pet ragdoll or a similar breed, try to duplicate its coat pattern on your drawing. Draw a shadow at the bottom using a medium value. Keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the ragdoll cat. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment. Also subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.